everybody, good morning. So today is our Tech Thursday, and today we're going to be focusing on set design. So what falls under the purview of set design? So it's really and truly anything the actors can interact with on stage that they aren't wearing. Because if they're wearing it, it's costumes. So things like the doors, chairs, things that they hold in their hands, those all fall under the umbrella of set design. Now, I talked about the things they hold in their hands. That's technically a subset of set design called properties, and we're going to actually do a whole other video just on that later. So we're going to focus today on the big stuff. So in set design, let's say for a moment we are going to design a set to represent the room in which I do these videos. Obviously, you're going to need the doors that are over here, the other door behind me, my chair, my little planter thing, which is over there, the pole in the back. These are all things that you would need to have in order to represent my filming space appropriately. So, this is what we look at when we look at set design. So, like I said in the first video, all areas of design follow the same basic pattern of research, design, implementation. Now, with that said, and I'm going to say this in every single tech video because it's that important, the first step to any design is to read the script. If you are a designer, you need to get a copy of the script. You need to read it because that script will tell you everything you need for the show. And then beyond that, you can do whatever you want, but you need to know what you need. I'll give you an example. There's a show called Noises Off. It's a British comedy that takes place in a large house in the countryside. And the key thing you need to know about this script is that it requires the use of no fewer than 7 doors. And every single one of those doors is used in the course of the play. So if you're the set designer, you need to provide the actors and the director with at least as many doors as is required. You could add more if you wanted to, but that might just make it even more confusing. Additionally, in that play, it's also stated that one of the doorknobs has to come off in the third act. So you, as the designer, have to account for that so you can tell the builder so the builder can account for that. But things we're going to be looking at, though, when we read that script as a set designer, we're looking for where does this play take place? Is it an apartment in New York City, or is it a farmhouse in rural Kansas? When does it take place? Is it the 1960s, the 2000s, 1500 BC? Both of those things are going to be very important because, in an apartment in New York City, it's much smaller, much cramped. Things serve multiple purposes. In a farmhouse in Kansas, you're probably going to have more space, more spread out kind of things. You're also going to, if you're looking at the time period, things that existed in 1960s have different versions today. Again, the thing that I'll always point out is this cell phone in my pocket that I keep in my pocket didn't exist back then. So you have to be aware of things like that so you're not putting something that didn't belong in this world. You can't put a cell phone in the 1960s unless your play is about time travel, in which case go right ahead. But most plays aren't. So the research phase is you learn as much as you can about the play from reading it, and based on what your director has given you for a concept, you go out and you find images online. You make quick sketches of things to figure out, this is the idea that you're going for. Again, while within the director's vision, while within the realm of the play. You present that research. If everything's okayed, you go on to the next step, which is kind of the actual design phase. You're going to take those initial sketches you made, and the first part is you're probably going to draw those out into bigger, full-color sketches that you can say, this is what this is all going to look like. Also, as a designer, you start working on things like the ground plan and all of those. And I would normally, under this case, I've got a whole roll full of things where I could pull them out, but I'm going to actually show you a quick demonstration. So, real quick, it's time for the camera to move across the room to my handy dandy, here we go. This should do it. Yeah. So, hello everybody. So, for example, we are going to draw a quick ground plan of something real quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my handy thing. Now, when we draw, they talk about using this in scale. Now, this, we're going to say every one of these squares here is 5 feet, okay? So if I draw this line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that's a 50-foot line in this scale. And let's say we're going to put in a couch that's about 10 feet long, and a table that's about 15 feet, and we're going to put chairs all around that table. Now, this is a very cramped little space between the couch and the table, but that's okay. It happens sometimes. But what we do as a designer is we put this all together. We draw this out from this top-down view, and I'm going to move my camera back again and hopefully get everything all set up correctly. But what we're doing is when we draw that top-down view. We show everybody what this is going to look like from that bird's eye view. That drawing is taken and turned into construction drawings, where you actually demonstrate, how am I going to build that 50-foot long wall? How am I going to create that table? Do I have to build that table? Or do I have one in storage? But somebody else, or in some cases the designer, will design out the exact build of that wall. Like what pieces of wood need to go into it. That's what then goes to the people who are actually building the set, the builders, the carpenters. They're going to take that information and say, okay, if this is a 50-foot wall, we're going to need so many pieces of plywood, so many pieces of lumber to actually make this thing. And they do all that, and they create it, and they build it. Again, if you're in a community theater or a non-professional theater like a school, you're typically going to see the people designing also building, and you're going to see a lot of volunteers kind of building. In a professional theater, it's going to be the designer handing off those designs. So that's a basic thing, and one day I'm probably going to do a video where I bring out some of the actual drawings that I have from when I was doing more involved set designs, but that's not going to be this day. Stick in on Tuesday. We're going to be looking at properties, and we're going to give a whole conversation about that. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow for Hamlet Friday. Bye!